How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the Nerdy Basement. I'm your host, as always, the OG Osmosis, or just simply Ozzy. And I have a very special guest joining me today, former senior visual development concept artist for Marvel Studios, Anthony Francisco. Welcome back to the Nerdy Basement. It's been quite a while since you last been on the show. So how you been?
I've been good. Thanks for having me.
No, listen, thank you for reaching out and wanted to speak to us again. I know the last time we spoke, it was prior to the release of the first Black Panther movie, and
Yeah,
we spoke about the Dora Milaje, and conceptualizing that and seeing all that coming to fruition on the big screen. So I mean, while I have you, I do want to give you a thanks. I never gave it to you, all those years ago. For being, giving us your precious time back in the day. We were first starting out. We were only a year deep into the Nerdy Basement, and you kind of gave us, your time and your effort, your insight on the MCU and the stuff that you
yeah.
worked on at the time. So, you've been a cornerstone of the Nerdy Basement. So I want to take some time and give you a quick thank you for that and
I'm so
allowing us
glad.
to kind of be that cornerstone in our stepping stone in our road of success into what we become all
That's
these
so
years
cool.
later.
I know it's been so long. I feel like we should have had an interview in between those years, but things were just so busy. And
And the
you know,
crazy thing is we tried
yeah,
actually.
we tried. Just got so. I just got lucky. It just got popular right
Right.
after just a lot of interviews, and then the BuzzFeed article came out, and I know your when you shared that, first I was thinking I need to tell him who designed that so you won't make a mistake. At the same time, I'm also trying to make sure
Yeah.
people know.
Right.
But you were the first one. I think I ever did an interview about that. I think it
Yeah, I
was
think
you.
we were one of the first people alongside BuzzFeed at the time
Yeah, alongside.
to run a piece of some sort to talk about
Yeah,
your work on Black Panther. And now thinking back on it a little bit, yeah, I think that what was how that came to be was we did post about the Dora Milaje in that first look, and I think we miscredited. I believe we gave credit to Ryan Meinerding for the
yes,
design. I think it was something along those lines, and I think
yeah,
he commented on the post and he tagged you. He's like, "Oh, no, this is not my work. This is Anthony Francisco's work." And I was like,
yeah,
"Oh, listen, thank you for correcting us." And we updated that right away. And then that's essentially how he bridged the gap between us two.
yeah. He's awesome. He makes sure he gets to give the credit where credit due is due, and he's a friend for a long time. He's the head of visual development at Marvel Studios. Now I think he's more of a VP of creative development now at Marvel Studios.
Oh,
So
nice.
been good
Yeah,
stuff.
I got to get Ryan on the show at some point because I would like to pick his brain as much as I love to pick yours in terms of creating all these cool designs that we get to see for the past 10, 15 years almost. But listen, there's a lot to dive into. You've been doing a lot of work for the MCU. You also left Marvel Studios. You've gone to Dolphin. You've done some NFT work. You started your own creative venture.
Yeah.
What prompted this is a huge shift of what meant you exited Marvel Studios at what, as you were just mentioning, you gained super popularity after our interview and BuzzFeed's interview. Um, you were at the height of your career at Marvel Studios. What prompted that exit?
Yeah, it's so weird that it feels like it's the height, but really it's not. I feel like, but of course, I'm so grateful. I've been fortunate to have gotten all the movies under my belt and the characters, the iconic characters I got to design.
Mm-hmm.
But I realized, in between the 9 years I've been at Marvel, it's like, wow, I was not supposed to be there for 9 years. I was just supposed to be there for 3 weeks, and the 3 weeks became
Wow.
years. Um, but I had saved some money to do my own short film
Mm-hmm.
before I got I just had so much fun at Marvel that I forgot, that I had this film I wanted to do, and I've always wanted to be a filmmaker. I've been doing this concept art, visualization, storytelling in the illustration concept form for 22 years now, and
Mm-hmm.
I've always wanted to be a director. And what prompted that was because there was a a dinner, I think it was a party celebrating Black Panther. It all kind of happened during Black Panther
Right.
because I wanted to make sure I get credit for my work, that I wanted more control of uh, the film, more control of the whole idea. So
Hmm.
then what was, I was talking to Ryan Coogler in this dinner party thing, and he's the one, while I was talking to him, uh, all of a sudden, he, not all of a sudden, sorry, it's more like uh, we were talking, and I kind of pitched him some shows that I'm working on, my Filipino
Right.
folk series and this and that, and like, wow. And he was like, that sounds cool, man. And you know, you know, I know, I don't know exactly what he said, but felt like what he said was like, working on this, it's great and all, and Marvel is awesome and stuff. You're doing all this stuff, but just remember, don't forget your dream. That's what I remember the most. Don't forget your dream.
Right.
Still do the thing that you set out to do. And just, I don't know how our conversation exactly went, but for some reason after that, it's like, yeah, I still have this dream of making my own series. I've got like so many ideas on the, on development in my own mind, and kind of further along. And my short film that I was ready to do, and I never did it. And how should I know that I wouldn't be able to become a director instead of just a visual development artist, you know?
Right.
So
Right.
that was one of the biggest, that was like 2018, I guess. Well, no, 27. I can't remember exactly, but I guess when I said 2016, that was the beginning of me just wanting, um, just feeling like I needed to do more, was 2016. And then what
Right.
pushed me over the edge was that conversation with Ryan Coogler. And then eventually more conversations were kind of popping up and saying, hey, why don't you direct? Hey, why don't you do this and that? And I'm like, man, yeah, why don't I do it? And um, the great thing, I got lucky that I was in a good place, like at Marvel, where people are supportive of the idea. Kevin Feige, I actually got to talk to him before I left Marvel.
Nice.
So that was like, I talked to him in the hallways, just like, what's up and how you doing, that kind of small talk, maybe sometimes about ideas. But that that talk we had before I left, he was just like, congratulations, because I left because I told him I'm leaving because I got funding to develop my series, some of my other ideas, and
Right.
it's like, I gotta take this chance. And he said, your family, you've been here like for 9 years. Just remember, Anthony, if ever you want to come back, the door's always open. And I'm like,
That's
wow,
great.
cool. But then I took that opportunity to tell him, just so he knows that I want to come back as a director if I ever came back.
Oh,
You know,
nice. What was his response to that?
ah, it's the best, because he smiles and he goes, well, I'll be watching your career, sir.
Nice. That sounds very Kevin Feige like to say. So
Oh
so
man,
essentially this decision, it wasn't just about wanting to pursue, other, venture out and explore the other avenues in the industry. This is more of chasing your dream, even though many may consider that, you've already made it. You've been in the industry for 20 plus years. You worked for Marvel for nearly a decade, and your work has been seen by millions and millions of people. Many will consider that, you've made it. You made it. What else would you want to accomplish in life if you already made it? So it's an interesting line that Ryan Coogler gave you to kind of really give you the spark to really want to pursue what was it's essentially your overall dream.
yeah, yeah, and I'm old already. I'm not that young, so I'm like, I would have just stayed there, and it was a big risk. Everybody was a little afraid, but I had
Hmm.
good people. I had a manager that was very like, he got me that deal, Kevin Morrow. I really, what's the word, I'm grateful for him to like get the deal first before you go on. So don't just leave, because I was just ready to go.
Hmm.
My brain kept on making these stories, this whole series in my head, and I just can't, like, it was just on. I just had to write this. I can't stay anymore. the Marvel work is taking too much time from what I want to do.
Right.
You know, it's an interesting, how do you say this, feeling, I guess, where I'm like, oh, this story in my head, oh, let me write down, oh, but I gotta work, and then that stops, and like, I forgot how it went, and I gotta
Yeah.
get this idea before I lose it. You know, it's not like,
Right.
I feel like you don't just come up with it. I feel like it just comes, and you gotta get it before it leaves.
Yeah, listen, as someone who's also creative and who dabbles a little bit in writing, at least creative writing, I know exactly what you mean. And even
Yeah.
doing there's this whole, nerdy basement thing, like a lot of it comes with a lot of time constraints. My nine to
Yes.
five, is what chews up a lot of my time. So, you're on a much grander scale than we are, but we are walking, similar paths. Yeah, we were really
Yes. Yeah.
constrained with what we were doing for our day to day and trying to make a living and make ends meet, that we weren't really focusing too much on our dreams and our aspirations. So
Yeah.
it's really interesting now, talking about it, your exit, and seeing your perspective on it, how it came to be, and how super relatable that might not just be to me, but whoever's watching this interview or
Yeah.
listening to this interview whenever
It
it goes up.
it definitely is that side hustle that just
Mm-hmm.
low. It's like a whisper first, and then the whisper
Right.
becomes louder. Like, I gotta do this now,
Yeah,
and
definitely.
just so luckily I was able to, you know, um, get to that funding. Now I'm at Dolphin Entertainment, and
Mm-hmm.
they set aside some money to a budget for me to do my sizzle reel and my developing my other shows, and as well as one of my other ideas, which they picked up, which is called Creature Chronicles, which I'm
Right.
developing right now.
Nice. Yeah,
As
so
a
tell us more about that. I did have that here. I did some research on your Creature Chronicles and Dolphin, your whole NFT works. But before we jump into the NFT stuff, tell us about Creature Chronicles
Yeah,
and what you're doing with that.
well, oh, so sorry. Wait, before we jump into that, I just wanted to add a little more to what you said earlier, which
Sure, sure.
I feel like people would appreciate this when when you have like that goal that you want in your dream that you thought was your dream, and then when you're there, it's like let's say concept art, that was the dream that I thought was the dream, but I think I
Right,
copped out because I was better at art and I was afraid to do directing. I feel like that's kind of what happened, and then um when you get to that end, let's say you're already doing what your goal was, and it's like, oh, this is it, is this really what I want? Like, oh, and you have fun,
right.
everything's fun, and then no, it's more, it really is being braver to see exactly what you want,
Mm-hmm.
and then not being afraid to pursue it. Although again, like I said, I'm grateful for everything that's happened to me here. If it weren't for my Marvel background, I think I wouldn't have gotten the Creature Chronicle deal,
Right.
because it so segueing to that, it's because I've designed Baby Groot, and I've designed, some cute characters or iconic characters that they know I have an eye and a way of telling the story that they believe could be big someday. So
Right.
Creature Chronicles is my Star Wars, I guess I could say.
Okay, so yeah, so what kind of, that's big, your very own Star Wars. What kind of space opera are you creating here? What kind of mediums are you looking to attack? Are you looking at short form, like short film, short form animation, long-term feature films and animation, maybe live action? Do you have some comics, maybe, graphic novels and things like that in the works?
Yeah. So for Creature Chronicles, it's like it's a space opera. So there's
Hmm.
these uh like advanced race of aliens, like they're like space dragons. That's how they kind of look like,
Okay.
and they're being destroyed by this other alien race, and they're going around. The Trivians is like the main species looking for champions around like the universe, because they travel through like dimensions and stuff, looking for that one that has the right genes for the champ to be their champion. It's almost like the Jedi idea.
Right.
um, and uh, and and wow, pitching this is so funny. It's usually with images, it's just so much easier. So they find the right person, and it turns out we'll later learn in the story that she is actually related to the Trivians, because the Trivians are like advanced race of humans, like they're the future coming back to the past, trying to find that champion. And then they find her, and then she becomes like their hero and takes over the um, what do you call it, their alien race, and then saves them. So that's the simplest way to tell it. But there's more into it. You
Yeah.
know, there's like intrigue with, you know, and aside from really epic moments. But please, if everyone is any interested, I've got links in my Instagram, also in my Twitter, and it sends you to a page, and it even talks about what other things we have in store, and how it connects to the NFT.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah. So tell us more about the NFT and what you do in terms of creating those NFTs with Dolphin.
so for the NFT, what we wanted was to make a membership available, so that if you have the NFT, you get to be part of the very beginnings of this. Possibly could be like a pop culture kind of franchise, you know,
Right.
someday, and starting from the bottom, and being able to vote into, you know, what storylines should be, because I'm developing it as an animated series.
Okay.
So I've yeah we've summarized like 2 seasons already, but now we're writing the pilot episode in script form, and I'm storyboarding a bunch of the stuff. I know we're creating characters for this world. I already have some main characters, but it's a really huge, like a multiverse, you know,
Mm-hmm.
different stories within the Creature Chronicles story. So it would be great to have contributors from our NFT holders to be able to add story. Like if you wrote fan fiction, imagine if you wrote a Chewbacca in, or a, you know, Han Solo Jedi, and we incorporate into our story,
Right.
then that's one of the things you own. But then you own that character. We don't own it. You just put the story within our
Mm-hmm.
world. And Dolphin Entertainment is backing this, so they're a really huge, you know, publicly traded company. Dolphin Films, they make their own films. They also have other companies under them, not under them, but it's more like a conglomerate, you know, a group of companies.
Right.
That's like the PR company, 42 West. They're like
But
the
yeah, we're
biggest, the
we're
third big.
familiar with 42 West. Yeah, yeah.
You're familiar with? Oh
Yeah,
man,
we've done some work with 42 West. Yeah.
no way. Yeah, so Dolphin owns 42 West, or it's part of Dolphin.
Nice.
Um,
So
and the
hopefully we
door,
can reach out and kind of get a little inside deets and see and follow the process, the creative process a little more closely.
yeah, yeah. I wish I could explain it a little bit better. It's longer, but that's my that's my way of explaining. Like if you had a story for my creature within my world of Creature Chronicles, you had a story, you would not have to go through Hollywood. You just go through the NFT space within our community, and I could help you develop your show more, you know, and then it goes
Right.
through almost like a Shark Tank. If you like it, then boom, it's in, and then you own it, and you get license, you know, you get your royalties within that, or whatever licensing deals that you could get through that. And if Dolphin helps you out with it, then they get a percentage, but they don't own it. You still own your stuff.
Gotcha. So this is your not just overseeing, the creators within the inside. You're also helping bring in other talents and kind of give them the open
Yes,
door that they most like. Not saying that they most likely won't get. They won't have to really work. I mean, everybody has to work hard,
they
but
have to work. Yes, yes,
essentially you're giving them opening the door that other companies might not want to open.
yes,
Given
yes. And and the I think the benefit is being early. It's easier to see your stuff now. If you wait too
right.
long, of course, it'll be like Disney. Too many people coming in, then
Mm-hmm.
you have to look through all that. This is brand new. This is going into the Web3, right? And there's the metaverse, and then there's the blockchain. All that stuff is all like the next phase of technology. Um, so might as well be ahead of the curve. And if, you know, some people could notice take notice of it and see the benefit of it, then then maybe the value even of the NFT will even rise more.
Right.
So you only have 7,700 NFTs that just sold recently,
Yeah.
like a month and a half ago. We sold it. We sold out in 90 minutes.
90 minutes. Wow. That's pretty fast. That's pretty fast. And people have
Yeah.
a pretty big interest in the NFTs. And I see a lot of companies, investing into NFTs now. So
Oh yeah.
listen,
Medical
I'm not
fields.
so well versed into the NFTs. I'll be completely honest, but I just wanted. I know you reached out to me. You were mentioning, some of your NFT work, and I was like, okay, do NFT working with Dolphin. You got the Creature Chronicles. Let's see how all of that meshes together, and so people can get a general idea of what you were bringing and out to the world in this new
Yeah.
venture. Is there any time frame as to when we can expect to see, other than some of the concept art and stuff that you've already been posting, in terms of the shows and things like that?
A time frame. I'm still waiting. Are you talking about the Marvel films?
No, the Creature Chronicles, like
Oh,
the
could you?
animated set. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, there's some artwork out now, and I'm sharing the development of each character
Hmm.
through our Discord. Every Wednesday, I would have we just call it start sketching right now, but even that, I would like a vote from the holders on what name is cooler, not
Right.
start sketching. And so it's intentionally very generic so that we could have someone to take, how do you say this, ownership of, okay, you got the name for
You
this, and
got the
then
name. Gotcha. Yeah,
your
yeah,
name's right there. And so, yeah, every Wednesday at 8 a.m., I would be sketching, brainstorming with whoever could join, but you have to be a holder of the NFT. Um, I don't know if people would understand how big this is if you are able to talk to Dolphin directly and say, this is an idea I think you should have, and then we incorporate it. Then you
Right.
become, then we keep what do you call it, a record of who's contributing more. Of course, then maybe your
Hmm.
name could be in special thanks or producer or whatever. Like within once the show comes out or the film or the toys, which is what I want.
Right.
I want merchandise, or the fashion line. Like it just so many things that could happen. Um, and I kind of Dolphin, they really liked the pitch, so that's why they kind of offered to for me to be creative director over there at Dolphin,
Gotcha.
just coming up with different ideas. So I'm also like a big part of developing their original IPs. Um,
Nice. Listen, all that sounds super, super ambitious, and I'm glad that you were able to find some funding, some backing, support, from both Marvel, from Dolphin. This sounds like a big, big project, and you're pouring your heart and your soul into it. So I'm excited about it. I'm ready to see what you bring to the forefront. Like I said, I've seen some of the concept that you've been posting, some of the character designs and things like that. So I've been keeping tabs, but now I know a little more. I can definitely widen my scope and keep you on the
yeah,
radar just a little more than I usually do
yeah,
when it comes
yeah,
to Creature Chronicles. But yeah, we'll backtrack now to Marvel. I know most of my questions now will be based within the MCU, within stuff that you design currently or have designed now that is coming out later.
yeah,
We'll
yeah,
backtrack a little bit. We'll go back to Black Panther. Obviously, we spoke about that a little bit. Your designs of the Dora Milaje, seeing that being brought into life on the big screen. But you also worked on Wakanda Forever, and you also got to help with the design and the creation of Namor in the MCU. So tell me about that process. How were you approached with designing Namor for the MCU?
well, at that time I was still at Marvel, so it's really luckily I got to still work on the second part of Wakanda Forever.
Mhm.
During that time, I was also working on Ant-Man and the Ant-Man Quantumania,
Right.
as well as Marvels. So it's almost like almost at the same time. Um, During the pandemic, so it's like three things all at the same time, and normally uh I don't get main characters on all three, right? It's
Okay.
like the percentage is low. But this time around, for some reason, I got main character on all three, so I had to stay on all three for a little bit.
Right.
For Black Panther, though, when coming up with designs for Namor, I know his character, and I know the kind of, smug cockiness this guy had, and he's just an asshole,
Yeah, he
uh,
is.
but and then even the story was, the Fantastic Four. So I know he had to have that kind of feeling, but then when I was searching for the look of it, um, I I'm really kind of into like tribal stuff, and you know um, different indigenous cultures, and and definitely because of design for the Dora Milaje, I still had all these references that I
Right.
loved and I didn't get to use, um, and that's part of that is having the Maya, the Incas, and indigenous Native Americans of North and South America. So there's so much. And in the Philippines, we have also a lot over there. Uh, tribal groups in China, right, and Asia.
Right.
There's a lot of, how do you say this? Like it seems like there's a lot of different little similarities between, because I'm sure we all came from like one place, and then because of trade and stuff, you get to see some of these things in other places.
Mm-hmm.
Right, this is a long drawn
Right.
answer. I'm trying
No,
to
that's
find,
okay. We got
yeah,
time.
yeah. And I remember uh, a year before anything was set up, no story yet, nothing. We started working on it for 2 months, just developing the look.
Right.
It was three of us artists. Phil Saunders was doing a bunch of stuff, and me, and I think it's just me and him for a little bit, um, for 2 months, and I uh, I got the look that they wanted
Right.
uh, in those 2 months, and it was just kind of lucky, that Mayan kind of feeling came out. But it also turns out that they wanted that Mayan feeling, but we weren't sure yet until it became like official. Okay, uh, uh, Mayan and Mesoamerica. So, but I stuck to Mayan, and I looked at the Olmecs, Mayans,
Mm-hmm.
the Aztec, but not quite the Incas. There's a big change in the aesthetic look of it once you go into the Inca.
Right.
Not Oh man, I need to write all this down. I realized because once I'm studying it, like, oh, there's a difference here, and then the Mayan glyphs was played a big part in me trying to figure out the design, because the glyphs were like, to me, when I was looking through it, I was like, what would I do if I lived in that time and I was a graffiti artist?
Right. Right.
So the people making the glyphs are the uh what do you call this? They're the status quo, let's say, and I'm a graffiti artist. How would I do it where I'm going against them,
Mm-hmm.
but still being Mayan kind of feeling? So that's kind
Right.
of like what I did with the necklace of. You're gonna edit this a little bit, right? It's like,
No, this is all, we're all keeping this right all here. We'll probably we'll
all the
probably
same. Okay.
we'll probably trim it down for
Yeah.
maybe the written version for the website, but that's about it. We'll
Yeah.
abbreviate it
Hopefully,
and
everyone
paraphrase.
appreciates my way of going through this whole explaining. I realize I haven't had enough interviews to have a clear way of explaining how I came to the design. Um, but definitely, the necklace design for Namor is the one I really focused on. It actually came in a dream, and I was like, um, so they've been working on it for a little bit already, like 4 months and I was
Mhm.
also working on Ant-Man, so I didn't really have much time to keep on working. But when December came around, we took everyone's on vacation. I just I was just thinking, what this how can this look like where it's iconic and different, but not because we didn't want it to be historically accurate. It just has to
Right.
feel like it's mine, but not historically accurate. Because if it was, then we don't want to, offend anybody if we're trying to be historically accurate.
Right.
So Ryan Coogler wanted, he wanted something like how the Dora Milaje was made. So I was like, okay, I think I know what he means already by that. So when the idea came in the dream, I just like got up and I just started drawing it. So Kukulkan is the god of, bringer and taker of life. So he's a winged serpent, like flying winged serpent, and that is definitely the god that would relate um to Namor, right? That's how he's
No
named,
more. Yep.
Namor. Yeah. So Namor, and when I designed the two serpent heads dragons, they're like serpent dragons, really. Uh, there's a duality. If you see the necklace, it's two serpents kind of
Coming
coming together
together.
into like the pearl in the middle. The pearl symbolizes the sun or life or your soul. Right?
Nice.
So it's one side is the death and one side is life. And depending who you are, when you look at the necklace, it's either it's giving you life or taking your life.
Wow.
So that's kind of like
I,
the
I,
symbol.
I like that. You can even correlate that to him. This is spoilers for the film, just in case anyone hasn't watched
Yeah.
it yet. Where he shows Shuri Talokan, and he shows her the big ball of vibranium, and he tells his people, I brought my people the sun, and the sun, it plays a big influence in our livelihood in the real world, and how things
Yeah.
work here on Earth. So I can kind of correlate that little pearl on the centerpiece as that being the life that he brought down, not just to, obviously the giver, the taker of life that you just mentioned, giving life to his people, but also taking that life away from his enemies, as he mentions in throughout the movie. No
Yeah.
more. That's what his enemies call him. So
And when I presented that design, I had one of the so I had just drawn it by itself on one side, as well as having a full illustration of Namor kind of like in a pose. On the one side, I drew it out and I wrote beneath it what I just told you.
right,
Duality of like, and then when he read that, I was told that when he read that, that's like, okay, that he loved that, the ideas there, because he encouraged people to not just do an illustration with no text on it. Like, tell me what the meaning is. Tell me what this means from here and that and that. Like, what does it correlate to actual symbolism of the Mayan? Like, is there one like on a door or something or this or that?
right,
And I'm like, um, but I know the goal was to have the symbolism of the god, but not an actual thing that has already been designed that's on the temples or something like that.
right.
So yeah, so I'm really happy with that design, and I guess I'm proud of it that it feels so original. I don't think I've ever seen it anywhere before.
Well,
Um,
yeah, I mean, a lot of people have gravitated to Nick Namor's design. It is obviously a huge change from the comic book source material, and but
yeah,
most comic book fans would, be a little adamant about of changes like that when it comes to a character as beloved as Namor, or in this case Namor. Um,
yeah,
but being able to incorporate those Maya, Mesoamerican inspirations, and
yeah,
give it that symbolism, as you even going all the way down to his name, giving it some deeper meaning. I think a lot of people have gravitated to Namor in ways I haven't really seen anybody gravitate to a character as much throughout
yeah.
the entirety of the MCU. So I think that's something you guys can wear, really proudly.
Yeah, and yeah, it was just like in the representation, it's really it is really awesome. Um, I'm really
Yes,
glad.
Marvel has been doing an incredible job. Obviously, representation. We get a lot of female representation, a lot of Asian representation, Pakistani. We get representations of all kinds. Got the African representation. We get Latino. The Latina, the Hispanics in the MCU now, with America Chavez. You've worked on on a couple of diverse films, not just Black Panther. You've worked on Shang-Chi. You've worked on Internals. Both who have Asian representation on and off the screen. having worked on those films, and obviously something like Wakanda Forever, that representation, how important is that for you as an Asian American or Filipino American, just to be a little more
It's-
specific?
yeah. Oh man, it's funny because I feel like I was not as aware of that when coming up. I've been doing it for 22 years, but it's like I was not even thinking about that's what I was doing. When when I got a little bit more popular and I got interviews and some people wanted to I have a friend who made a video, like a little 3-minute profile video, that
Mhm.
is so that we wouldn't get drowned in all the like all the hype and credit just goes to certain people, right?
Right,
And that's when I realized, because in the beginning I didn't want to show that 3-minute video, and if anybody wants to watch this, it's on my YouTube channel. But that 3-minute video almost didn't come out because I was afraid that I was a bit emotional in the video because of the
right,
questions they wanted to go out. And he was like, it's a good friend, Ryan Moore. He was like, this is very important because if people can see you, that you have accomplished this in this kind of world of film, which normally is dominated by, you know, uh, white people, I guess, and people could get inspired and say, "Oh, that person made it, so I can make it." And
right,
I never thought of it that way because in my mind, I was like, as delusional, just like I'm just gonna be the best in what I do and don't think about anything I didn't.
right,
You know,
right.
I think I was lucky in the sense that the film industry, from my experience anyway,
Mhm.
didn't what's the word I'm looking for? Prejudice, is that the word? Like, I got lucky that I wasn't singled out or anything because of my
Right.
race or anything like that. I got
Mhm.
lucky. But I heard other stories. But that's why the representation is so important, because when you see it happening on screen, like Bruce Lee, I see Bruce Lee. It's like it feels like it's normal. All of us could make it, you know?
Right. Right. No, I think it's important too, and I think Marvel has all Kevin Feige and company has also realized how important that representation is. And then we got a ton of that in Phase 4. Like I said, we got an all Asian American cast in Shang-Chi. We got Chloe Zhao, an Asian American woman directing, a female Asian American woman directing something like Eternals. You know what I mean? So, Destin Daniel Cretton also behind the cameras
Yeah,
on Shang-Chi, and also, he's directing what is that? What is it? The
Kang.
Kang movie.
Yeah,
Kang, whatever. I'm drawing a
Avengers,
blank right
Avengers,
now. It's an Avengers
Avengers.
movie.
Yeah,
It's an Avengers movie, but obviously Kang is the main character there. But yeah, Destin has gone from Shang-Chi to an Avengers movie, and I think that's huge for BIPOC people and
yeah.
and creators. So speaking of Destin and Chloe Zhao, how was that collaborative effort between you guys on those respective films?
It was great. I got to meet them, and talk to them a little bit. Destin a little bit more than Chloe, um, and I even like also showed Destin some of my Filipino folklore concept work, and just hearing them react to it and say how they liked it, and it's like um, it's very encouraging. So hopefully someday, Destin, if he's not busy, he will be able to work with me on one of my maybe direct or write one of my IPs.
Listen, let's hope. I would like to see you guys working together again. Destin has definitely shown us, before and now during his tenure at Marvel, that he has a lot of skills behind the camera. But this is a little more. Go ahead. I know you got something to say, but then
Uh,
we'll jump into the next question.
I was gonna say, man, he's so encouraging. He's like, one time I told him, I don't think I could be like producer or something. And who told you that? Like, you should still try, even if you don't think you can't do it. If you want to do it, you should try to do it, and then you find out if you can't or not.
Right.
You know, and even if you can't, just keep on going, because he's like, you know, he, everyone gets nervous, and he had that time in his life where he also the insecurity and the um what's the word when you believe you're not worthy
The
of being in that position.
the imposter
The
syndrome.
imposter syndrome, yes, that one.
I
Oh
think we
man,
all get imposter syndrome at some point or another. But
yeah.
yeah.
So, and hearing it from like heavy hitters, like him, it's like, okay, let me just do it. You know, um,
No, definitely.
he's,
And listen, that's something I tell my son all the time. He's only 7, and he has a lot of aspirations, as any young kid his age has. And I tell him, listen, you just try. Like, yeah, you might not be good at it at first, but that doesn't mean you give up. Just keep pushing,
yeah,
and you try as hard as you can, because you will never know whether or not you can or cannot do something unless you
yeah.
actually do it and you try your best at it. So,
And when you think about it, what's the difference if you say you want to be a filmmaker and an accountant? You could still fail at being an accountant,
you definitely can still feel
you
like
know,
being an accountant. Yes, you can.
right? So
There's no real difference. I mean, in terms of career paths. I mean, obviously, many will consider more other career paths more ambitious and more big than
yeah,
others. But I think anyone who ventures whichever path they decide to venture on are going to face some of those same obstacles, no matter
yeah,
how grand the scales are, or how grand the obstacles are, or how grand the dream is
yeah.
overall.
Because to me, being an accountant to me is difficult because numbers is not my strong suit. So
Yeah, that's not my
that's
strong suit
more of a
either.
risk to, like, oh, be a doctor because it's stable, it makes more money. But I'm not good at being, a doctor.
Right. And
So
listen,
that's
doctors have to study a lot of time, a lot of years before they
yeah,
even become doctors. So I mean, listen,
yeah,
everybody has their own obstacles to overcome with no matter which career path they choose. But yeah, I was gonna say, I was gonna ask a little bit of more of a personal question. If you do
okay,
always add a piece of yourself to your designs, whether it be something from your personal life, whether it be from your background, as a Filipino American. Is that something that's always intentional in your work, or that's just something that just happens along the way?
I think it just happens along the way because our experiences really make up us, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and and then more experiences changes you, and some of them are even more memorable, that it sticks through your whole life, and even without you knowing it, the shapes of your designs just become those shapes, and you
Right.
develop those shapes more and more, and it's coming like from your roots, I guess, the place where you started, where it's kind of hidden back there. It just comes out because it makes you happy, it makes you sad, it makes you afraid, and you don't know what it is yet until you draw it out, and no, it's a spider. But
Right.
I was able to, like, because I taught classes,
Mm-hmm.
design classes before, and I had to figure out makes what makes me tick, I guess, what makes me design certain things. So I
Mm-hmm.
had to, like, study myself, and then that's when I'm like, oh, I seem like I always add something from my culture, or I wonder. Sometimes that's a good question. Sometimes I wonder if it's because of my culture. I just love tribal stuff ever since I was younger. It's not
Right.
even just Filipino stuff,
Mm-hmm.
I do have to say, though, the stories and my even personal experiences that has nothing to do with being Filipino, just being human, like heartache, heartbreaks, and family squabbles.
Gotcha.
Um,
That's everybody.
that's everybody, and those still seep into some of my designs.
Mm-hmm.
What makes you sad, and what shape of a drawing or design could symbolize that sadness. Of course, everyone knows about the heart and the break right in the middle. But
Right.
if you take the basic idea and then change it into something different, but still have the same feeling, it's almost like it's all trying to get that feeling. When I'm painting something, what makes me cry, and then I kind of go back, really go deep into my soul and where that is. And then you start remembering your family, you know, your I grew up in the Philippines, so there's a lot of that uh, visual language that's still in my head, like the
Hmm.
jeepneys and the really dirty corners, trash everywhere, you know, in some places,
Gotcha. Yeah.
right? It's just like, wow. And that, and then as well as the tribal indigenous people of the Philippines.
No, that's great. I mean, I don't know. I asked that mainly because I know Baby Grew. You know, you drew the inspiration. We talked about this in our very first interview. The first time we sat down to talk, you know, you drew inspiration from your son to, you know, kind of craft the design of Baby Groot. So I'm like, I wonder, you know, how personal he gets with every, you know, piece of work that he creates, whether it be something from Marvel, something outside of Marvel. You know, like you said, you've been in the industry for 20 some odd years. You know,
Yeah,
every little, you know, film that you worked on does have a piece of you embedded in it in
yeah.
some way, shape, or form.
Even Namor has it. Like, um, it, it's easy with the Namor stuff because the Mayans were also attacked and you know, they were colonized. That colonizing trauma, I feel like from all places that's been colonized, is I think I have it, you know?
Right.
Uh, and that's like a term that's just been something new recently. Like maybe that's why I always gravitate to superheroes. I wish we had those during that time to save the country. And then you look throughout the whole world and what people went through. So those emotions kind of gets me sometimes when I'm drawing by myself.
Right.
Then why there are these gods, and then it really takes a toll on you sometimes. It's like being an actor, I guess.
Right, right.
You
I
kind of
mean,
feel.
it's embedded into our DNA. You know, I come from a household that's Puerto Rican and Dominican, both indigenous and ancestors and stuff like that. You know, the native Tainos to the Caribbeans and the Arawaks and all that stuff. So you know that colonizing, you know, being colonized, that trauma does seep down, you know, generation to generation to generation. So, you know, it does
Yeah,
affect us. You know, even in modern day, even though we're not fully dealing with a full-blown colonization of our peoples, you know what I mean? You know, everywhere is pretty much as diverse as God knows, you know, how diverse the world is.
yeah,
But you know, as you mentioned, that's still embedded in us, in our DNA. That's what makes us, you know, that's what connects us to the ancestors. It makes movies like Black Panther, for example, and you know, characters like Namor, people gravitate towards that because they're able to connect with those, you know, that not necessarily the trauma of it so much, but being able to see that connective tissue. Like, you know, these people, you know, this is a
yeah,
character who's dealt with some of the trauma that my ancestors have dealt with, stuff that I'm learning to heal from, even though they were fully allowed to heal from that trauma
yeah.
at that point in time.
It seems like the healing seems like it's just being seen. It's like, now we're playing the game together,
Right.
something like that. I think that's where it feels good. So people like, you know, people of color that could be in positions of power within the industry,
Hmm.
and if you do that, then it feels like, oh, we have more of a uh, fighting chances now with the word. It's more like more of an opportunity. So it's not just your usual suspects that's always there, you know?
Right, right.
So anyway,
Listen, I think the industry is shaping up. I think a lot of people are speaking out. A lot of people are make and people of color, the BIPOC people who are given these creative chances are making a name for themselves and showing that they have what it takes to stay. I mean, listen, you're a living example of that. You know, you
yeah,
20 plus years in the industry, 10 years in Marvel almost. You're now with Dolphin. You have your own Creature Chronicles universe. Listen, you're a living testament that it is possible for BIPOC people within the industry. So moving on from that a little bit more. So you know, I know we're taking a lot of your time today, but let's move it to Phase 5 of MCU because obviously Phase 4 has wrapped with Wakanda Forever. You were at the start of Phase 4 with WandaVision. You were at the end of Phase 4 with Wakanda Forever. We dove deep in that, but Phase 5 is going to kick off essentially in February with Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Some heavy
Yeah.
hitters here. You got Kang, full-blown introduction to Kang the Conqueror, before he makes his, full-blown, before he wreaks havoc within the MCU in the Kang Dynasty. But you designed MODOK in this movie. And recently, unfortunately, some Funko Pops have hit, some retail stores, giving us
Yeah.
our first look at MODOK, which Marvel has not officially revealed yet in the Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania trailer. But tell us about the design and how did you guys design the MODOK for this movie, while we keeping that design fresh for the MCU, but also staying true to the source material, giving him that MODOK look to really make it feel like MODOK.
Yeah, so man, I wish I wonder when Marvel is gonna officially, if they have, but
Hopefully
the
soon.
Funko released it already, huh?
Yeah,
Interesting.
it's been in stores. It's been in stores. We got
It's in
that
stores already?
is in stores. Yeah, it
Holy
happened
crap.
online. Listen, we keep a tab on all that. We saw it
Yeah, yeah.
online. I was like, oh wait, I'm pretty sure that wasn't supposed to be online, but guess what, Funko? It is online. And things have this been happening since way back in 2016. Giant Man was spoiled via Funko Pop back when he was supposed to make his debut in Civil War in 2016.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
so
It's
it
probably
happens.
intentional. It's like it's, but yeah, I'm really proud that I got to, work on that. And people actually saw it at Hall H. I have some friends who
Yeah.
saying,
Hmm.
I have a few friends that had worked on, on the same project. Oh, well, not for Marvel. And they were there. They know who I am. They've seen some of my work there. And when they saw it, it's like, yeah, it looks just like your keyframe that you painted, the one in the movie. But the toy, I wonder, I don't know if I can confirm or deny anything right now. I just wonder.
We can tread softly here, because, and I want to
Yeah,
tread softly here because I know this design, like I said, it was revealed online, but it wasn't an official reveal from Marvel. I know you designed the character, but if
yeah.
there's anything, let's just talk
What
about
what
keeping
I could
that
say,
design rather than giving anything that's too spoilery. We don't want to know
yeah,
who
yeah,
it
I
is, but
definitely
let's just
will.
talk about the design, because
I-
I feel like, yeah, it's a lot of people who've seen it and some of the feedback that I've gotten from it. People are digging the design. So I'll give you that
That's
much.
awesome.
People are enjoying the design so far. All right. So they're
Just
looking
based,
forward to seeing them in action. Now, one of the other compliments that I've seen based on that image is that it very much looks like MODOK from the comic books. Although, we don't have a face reveal, what the toy looks like. You know what the character looks like. But yeah, tell us about designing that in the least
I
spoilery way as possible. Because I know
okay.
Kevin
I
Feige
think
is watching somewhere.
yeah, one thing I could probably say is that us at Marvel, the VizDev team are fans. I mean, especially me. I love Marvel, stuff since I was 5. I've been drawing that stuff, and I've been MODOK, X-Men, all the characters I've been like working on. She-Hulk, I had shown some of my She-Hulk stuff recently.
Right.
I wish I got more time to work on it, but I was able to at least give some ideas. Um, that okay, because of that love for that, it's gonna be what the fans want. So just remember that, so when you see it, it's gonna be amazing. I am proud I got to work on it. Andy Park headed that whole show, and he really put a lot of trust in me to uh to do the right thing with that. And I said I'm like, I'm trying not to say anything, but
I know. Listen, I had to ask. I had to ask
yeah,
because
yeah, yeah.
I
But I'm
had
proud. I could tell you I am proud of my work, just like how I'm proud of Namor, just like how I'm proud of Dora Milaje. And it took me so long to say that about my own work, because I'm always so I don't want to, like, how do you say this, talk myself up too much. I want people to say how much
Mhm.
they liked it, but at the same time, I also learned that I have to be able to accept it, and just take ownership of the stuff I've designed, or someone else will, you know.
Right. Listen, like
Yeah.
I
So
said,
yeah,
I know
you guys
we
let
can't say
down.
much. We can't say much about MODOK. We're still a few months away from
Yeah.
seeing MODOK's debut in the MCU. Um,
I
we
also
haven't
helped
got it.
on Kang, by the way. I also worked on Kang.
Oh, so now
Yeah.
you got to tell me about Kang. You got to tell me about bringing Jonathan Majors
Oh, that one.
into that. Because
That
listen,
one.
a new still dropped today, right? Earlier today, a new still dropped
Yeah.
from Empire Magazine. I believe they revealed that new image of Scott Lang face to face with Kang, and I got to say the costume looks amazing.
Oh yes. Yeah. That is. I
So yeah,
can't.
what can you tell us about
Well,
Kang
I helped with that costume.
designing his costume for the MCU?
Mine was not the final. That's what I could say. Um, but I can't wait to share all my designs for him
See
on the way to the final.
that's a good tease. That's a good tease, and I think I can wait. If you want to give us an exclusive, I'll definitely gladly take that review as an exclusive. We can work on that one later. But you're also working on the Marvels. Is there anything you can tell us about the Marvels and what character you were able to design in the Marvels?
Uh, I can't yet say, but it's a good one.
Well,
That one, nothing's out of that.
I have a feeling you got to work on Monica's photon costume. Can you tease, slightly confirm, not confirm?
There's more characters there in there. I really can't confirm or deny anything. And that one, there's nothing leaked with that. There's no
No,
but
there's no leaks. The only I was putting equals leaks would be that Monica is getting her photon costume. So I figure what, maybe Anthony worked on her photon costume. Um, maybe you worked on Kamala Khan's new costume. Maybe you helped design Carol Danvers' new costume. and,
well,
and
definitely, yeah, definitely. When's that movie coming out? Next year?
that's dropping next year. Yeah, I think it's like
Marvel.
the middle. I think it's like towards the
I
end of
only
next
have
year.
I only have a few movies left that's coming out because you know how we work on movies like
Oh
two
yeah,
years before.
you guys work for movies for years before you guys
Yeah,
even announce them.
and then my last movie was Guardians of the Galaxy 3. So it's such
That's
a
your
nice.
official last movie outside of Ant-Man 3 and the Marvels.
Yes, yeah, that's the official last one, and
That's the official last one. So what can you tell us about Guardians 3? Obviously, without giving
yeah, Guardians
away
Day is
the
gonna be cool.
spoilers.
A lot of cool costumes. It's weird that I don't know what I could talk about. I know people saw who what's his name is Adam Warlock, right? You guys kind of saw
Yeah, I
the
heard and I saw some of the leaked stuff that came out of Hall H this past summer. So I will say
yeah.
that.
I helped a
Um,
little bit with that, but mine again wasn't the final approved costume.
okay. Are we
But
getting a comic book accurate Adam Warlock would be my question. Is that something you can
he's
confirm
cool.
or deny?
I could just say he's cool. He's cool. No, but I can't even really say because I wasn't too involved with him. I was on
Yeah.
another character.
Another character. Is this like a character a lot of people are expecting, or this is just a character that,
I wonder. Yes, a lot of people would be expecting this one.
I'm
This
gonna go
guy.
on a limb and kind of say this would be Nova of some sort.
I can't really know.
I'm trying. I'm pulling at straws here, Anthony. I'm sorry. I'm just trying
It's
to get a
okay. It's
scoop
okay.
out of
I'm
you.
really good at this already. I'm
No,
trained.
trust. I know. 10 years at Marvel. I'm sure I'm not getting anything
Yeah.
out of you.
I'll just laugh, and I think that's why they trust us so much because we really. But one reason why is because we want the audience when they watch it, they'll just really go, wow,
Right. Yeah, definitely. And
That's
I think
I
Marvel relishes in those pops and
yeah,
those reactions that the fans do post on social media.
I am so surprised that we revealed so much in that trailer or in Hall H. It's like, wow, why are
That
we
was a lot, a lot.
that
Listen, from a fan perspective, I was like, nah, that's
that's
Marvel just teasing it. That's Marvel just teasing it. Oh, give me the official trailer right now.
Oh man. Oh shoot. Hold on. Let me put my batteries like dying. Let me just.
No worries.
Oh,
Yeah, we'll get out of here after this question. That was literally my final question, for you.
okay.
But yeah, you got Guardians 3. Then that's a wrap. That's an official wrap for Anthony Francisco's, current tenure at Marvel Studios. I'm pretty sure I have faith in you. Kevin Feige's gonna give you a call to come work on another project and
Oh, that's
and and
me.
direct it and produce it to some degree. I'm pretty sure he'll call you back for that.
If I
But
do
yeah,
well, so I do well with this show that I have now. I think it's going well. I mean, we sold out, and it's just now
right.
finishing the anime series or the comic book. Also, have some toys and stuff like that, and just make this whole franchise something.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that would be my credit card, my calling card to be able to do something for Marvel.
No, definitely.
Maybe,
But listen, Anthony, I know we took a lot of your time today. I appreciate you again for giving us another lengthy interview. I'm pretty sure, and this one obviously a little more insightful than our initial one. Like I said, we were just starting out at the time, and you gave us the floor, and gave us the opportunity. So now was a little more meat on our bones, as most people would say, and to
yeah,
provide us with a much more rich and insightful interview, given all the topics that we talked about. I really appreciate you taking time out of your day today, to get this interview done right before the holiday. So I'm gonna let you go up on your way. I wish you a happy Thanksgiving if you're celebrating Thanksgiving. I cannot
yeah,
wait to see the rest of your Marvel work, and MODOK and the Marvels and
yeah.
Kang and maybe Nova and Photon and all things like that. We'll keep teasing it for the fans, but either way, Anthony, again, I appreciate you for all your time today. We'll stay in touch as we always have these past few years, and we'll come back and do a couple more lives and a couple more
We'll do
interviews
that for sure, for
as
sure.
as these movies come
Retrospective.
along. No,
Let's do
yo,
like a
definitely,
retrospective.
definitely, definitely. I
All
will
right,
definitely
man.
enjoy that. But all right, Anthony, I see you. I see you around. Have a very good night.
Thank you again. See you.
See you.
Bye.
All right, there you have it, everyone. That is our interview with Anthony Francisco. As you guys heard, he's working on a ton of Marvel movies. Obviously, his upcoming films will be Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, The Marvels. Also got to work on Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, all launching in Phase 5 of the MCU in 2023. If you want to see more interviews like these, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure to turn on bell notifications like that you don't miss a video every single time we drop here at the Nerdy Basement. And as always, stay nerdy, my friends. Peace.